What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL Seal video. Today we're going to be discussing how Arsenal are top of the league. We're going to go through their tactics, some players to target in FPL and stuff like that. If you're into it, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel to help me grow this community. It'll help me massively. So we're going to start with the manager, Mikel Arteta. While he was playing, he played 427 games during his playing career. He played for Everton, Arsenal and PSG along with other clubs. He grew up at Barcelona, so he has a really good footballing background, and he is kind of nuts. Everyone says he's kind of nuts around tactics and stuff like that. He was kind of the teacher's pet with football managers, with the managers that he had. He was always asking them, why are we doing this in training, what do we set up like this, and just trying to get more info into the tactics. And while he was at Arsenal, he was working on his coaching degree with the under 18s and under 15s and stuff like that. He learned from great managers like Wenger and Pep, and also of course David Moyes at Everton. And in 2016, when he retired, he went to Manchester City as Pep's assistant manager, and he learned a lot from Pep, as we'll go through later in the video. And then in 2019, he of course took over as Arsenal's manager from Unai Emery, and he has done really well since then. So how do Arsenal set up? I have taken a photo here from buildlineup.com. If you want to build your own lineup, you can use that to build that. This is how we set up. It's Ramsdale in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko in defense, Partey, Ødegaard, Xhaka in midfield, Saka, Martinelli and Jesus up top. Now it's a 4-3-3 formation, but it's a very fluid formation in attack, and they are very disciplined in defense, as we'll go through. So the defense has only got 23 yellow cards in 14 games. That's about nearly 2 yellow cards per game. It's a little less. 1 red card this season. They've fouled players 76 times and the offsides have been 19. So the offside trap's been working quite well for them. Now they have the joint best defense in the league along with Newcastle United, if you would believe it. Now Aaron Ramsdale and Pope are both on 7 clean sheets, and Arsenal have only conceded 11 goals like Newcastle. Now per match is 0.79, and then saves that Aaron Ramsdale has done, it's 28, tackles 206, tackle success rate is 62%. They have blocked 66 shots, they've intercepted 108 balls, they've cleared 224 balls, heading clearances 121, and as you can see there, it's only 1 error leading to goal and then 1 own goal with Saliba scored against Leicester. So it's a really solid defense that we can look to invest in, and we'll go through why they are so solid a little later. But here's their attack. They've made so many passes and their pass accuracy is 86%. They have got a 23% cross accuracy, which is decent. I mean, it's fairly low though. But they have the second best attack in the league, scoring 33 goals, only behind Manchester City. Now, goals per match, that's 2.36 goals per match, so it's nearly 3 goals per match. They've got 222 shots, and 81 of those shots have gone on target. That leaves you with 36% shot accuracy. Only scored 1 penalty, and they've created 27 big chances and hit the woodwork 6 times. Now this is a really good attack to invest in, and also they are very cheap. The only players who cost 8 million here are Saka and Jesus. The other 3 are all below 7 million. We'll get into that a little bit later. Now I want to talk about how Arsenal defend and how they transition when they're attacking. So they of course set up in a 4-3-3 formation. And you have Zinchenko here. I just lined up the strongest side, the one that Arteta usually wants to go with if everyone would be fit and healthy. And I do believe Zinchenko would be in the left back, and I'll go into that a little bit later. So while defending, they just like to cover their zones here, with Partey covering the midfield. And of course, Xhaka can drop down with Partey a little bit more. Ødegaard can also drop down. Saka and Martinelli have good defensive discipline to help Zinchenko and White in their defensive asset, and of course the work ethic of Jesus leaves him really able to just go down into these spots, and we've seen it countless times where he's picking up the ball from these positions, and Martinelli's just gone and he's just trying to find passes. Xhaka even goes up before Jesus, and that might be why Jesus is not delivering the points in FPL. So in the attack, that's where the magic happens. Now Martinelli and Saka, they stay out wide, leaving space between the fullback and the centre back, which Odegaard can actually run into. He runs into this channel, and Xhaka runs into this channel, but that leaves them a little bit exposed in midfield. But that is where Zinchenko and White come in. They like to drop in here, just like this, creating a 3 midfield block with Saliba and Gabriel, the only defenders, sitting back. This makes for good viewing because it allows Xhaka to put more pressure into this zone, Odegaard to put pressure into this zone. Jesus has more space and time here, and this will make the defense usually either they're outnumbered or they have to drop down their midfielder, leaving Arsenal overpowering them in the midfield. Now, it's very fun to watch this, and they can, of course, with White, make the overlap. Zinchenko can make the overlap, and then Martinelli and Saka can cut inside. So Arsenal are very fluent in attack, and it's very fun to watch. This has been one of the most fast-paced and best sides to watch in the Premier League this season. It's insane to watch them. Now, you would think, okay, this would leave them open in this channel, right? So if the opposition wins a ball, let's say they win the ball here from Jesus, they can just throw a ball into the channel and chase after, right? Well, this is what happened against Chelsea when they lost possession. Chelsea tried to do this exact thing. They try and get Sterling or someone into space. Gabriel covered back really quickly. And of course, Zinchenko, he was just here in midfield. He just tracks back into centre back. Gabriel just goes into the left back position and tries to cover for Zinchenko like this. And then of course Partey drops down, Saliba drops down with him, and Ben White of course just drops down into his position. And it's very intriguing to watch how quickly they shape up, and they are very much drilled in what to do if they lose possession. And everyone's tracking back. Martinelli's really tracking back, Saka's tracking back, Jesus tracks back, Odegaard and Xhaka. It's just, they all work as one unit within Arteta's system, and this is very replicant of how Guardiola sets up his sides, how the Man City side plays. Now, this is the biggest weakness, and Arsenal know this, along with, of course, the other teams. When Chelsea tried to exploit it, they couldn't exploit it because Arsenal was so quick to transition back into defence that they just couldn't exploit that space. Now, it's very fun to watch this happen live. I can't show you guys, obviously, because of copyright issues, but it's really intriguing, and if you want to look at it, there are some good videos on YouTube to check that out. But yeah, when they transition into attack, sometimes Gabriel Jesus drops down, making Martinelli, Saka, even Odegaard, and even Xhaka more advanced than him. And he kind of has like sort of a Kane, Firmino role where he just drops down and plays the ball. His natural goal scoring instinct puts him back inside the box, but he is so helpful to the team. He's doing so many different things than scoring goals, and that is why he might not be the best FPL asset right now, but I'll go into the attacking assets later. But yeah, this 2-3-5 system is very much a Pep Guardiola design, where he does this a lot with the City team. He has Haaland instead of Jesus, of course, and then he has Foden or De Bruyne or Gundogan. Like against Brentford, Man City were attacking this side of the pitch a lot, where Xhaka is. So Gundogan and De Bruyne were just making runs into that position. Stones was dropping in here into midfield. Cancelo was doing as well. And it was very interesting. And then Gundogan and De Bruyne were just trading places. One of them was here while the other one's there. Rodri was sometimes here and then the other one was here. It's so similar. And then it's just your two centre backs left, playing very similar football. It's going to be very interesting when Arsenal and Man City actually face each other. But this is the Pep Guardiola effect. But now I'm going to show you guys some players to target. So, some players to target. I'm going to start with the defense. I've brought out Ramsdale and Ben White because they are quite cheap and they've scored 58 and 66 points between them. Both 14 appearances. Ben White's clean sheets are 8 because he's getting early subs, while Ramsdale's clean sheets are only 7. Ben White has been subbed early a couple of times. He's never really subbed before the 60-minute mark, so that might be, to me, that makes him even worth even more, because if Arsenal concede in the final 15 minutes or the final 20 minutes and Ben White's off the pitch, just like has happened with Trippier a couple of times this season, he's not going to get his clean sheet wipeout. So that's why I think for 4.7 million, and even if you have him for less, if you already have him in your team, he is insane value. Now, Ramsdale making 28 saves is really, really good. He has the highest clean sheet rate in the league, along with Pope, of course. So 58 points leaves him in the top tier of goalkeepers to pick. I just think you could just as well go with Pope. I think White for 4.7 is a better option if you're targeting that Arsenal defense. You could go Gabriel or Saliba as well for their aerial presence, but Ben White has created big, 3 big chances, and I think that's quite decent. But now let's look at their attack. The players to target from the attacking point of view, I've put up Saka, I've put up Martinelli, and I've put up Odegaard. The main reason I didn't put up Xhaka is because I just don't think for 5 points on the I think we can go Almiron. I think there's just so many options there. But Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard make for good reading when you try and review them like this. So of course, Bukayo Saka is the most expensive one for 8 million, while the other two are 6.8 and 6.4 respectively. Martinelli and Odegaard have 77 points. That's more than Bukayo Saka, who actually has 76 points and costs a little bit more. I mean, that's very decent. Now, both Saka and Martinelli have 14 appearances. Odegaard only has 13. But despite only having 13 appearances, he has scored the most goals. He has scored 6 goals this season, while the other two have scored 4 and 5. Now, Saka has the most assists. He has 6 assists. He's very influential in the Arsenal attack. But when you look at the big chances created, Odegaard leads that with 6. Now, goals per match, of course, Odegaard has the highest one, as he's had the most goals and the fewest matches. But the XG, that's where it gets interesting. Odegaard has 4.1 XG, while Saka has 4.5 XG. But the non-pen XG, so no penalties, of course, because Saka has the penalties, he only has 3.8 XG. Odegaard has 4.1. Odegaard has the second highest XG in the Arsenal team, behind Gabriel Jesus, who has 7.7 XG, which is very high. So if you want Gabriel Jesus, of course you can go for him. The reason I didn't put him in there is because I think you could go for Haaland, you could go for Kane, you could go for Darwin, or just a cheap third striker and go for 5 in midfield. I think there's more value in going with the midfielders, but Gabriel Jesus is a really good asset to have, and I think he's going to get a lot more goals in the second half of the season. It's just a matter of when, not if. Personally, if I had to pick in the attack, of course, Odegaard is sort of a dark horse here. Now, he's a bit of a differential. He is lower owned than Martinelli and Saka, and of course, he is cheaper, but with better underlying stats, so that's very interesting. Do let me know what you thought, and I'll be back next time. I hope you consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you, and goodbye.